Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We'll start off this Friday morning taking a look at the satellite and radar picture across the entire lower 48. As we begin this weekend, you'll notice the storm system across the eastern United States spinning away, continuing to lift off to the northwest, or to the northeast, I should say, bringing widespread opportunities for showers and storms across the entire northeast region, and also the risk of some severe weather along the east coast. The other thing as I play this loop is you can almost see the flow of the jet stream just by watching this picture. We see the jet stream jumping up a ridge over the western U.S., digging across the central United States with a trough over the eastern United States. You can almost see that within the flow there, where we're building warmth across first the western U.S. and then the eastern U.S., dealing with some cooler weather across parts of the eastern Corn Belt, and then again, in advance of that trough, this is where we expect to see the shower and thunderstorm activity as that area of low pressure continues to track along with the flow of the jet stream. So, taking my drawings away, beginning to take a more simple look at the future here, the next 60 hours or so, we'll see that storm system lift off to the northeast. That risk of some showers and storms, perhaps some severe weather across the along the east coast, which we'll talk about here in a moment. And then another storm system you're going to see here towards the end here. This is Sunday, beginning to move across parts of the northern plains, and that will track into the parts of the northeast as we get to the middle part of next week. Here's a look at the day one outlook. This is from the Storm Prediction Center, and here's where they've got the red area here. That is a moderate risk, and that is a pretty substantial risk for severe weather when we talk about this part of the country. This is something that's commonplace, when we talk about typical Tornado Alley and even parts of the southern U.S. This is where we expect to see much of our severe weather here when we're in the middle part of April, but a significant risk of severe thunderstorms and a big risk of some tornadoes across that region here, across Virginia and the Carolinas. But you notice we do have a part of this risk stretching into the northeast region. We've got a marginal risk across parts of Pennsylvania. And the slight risk does include Maryland and Delaware as well. So we'll just kind of zoom in here. We'll take a look at the high-resolution NAM model. And I want to go through here over time and time out that severe weather risk for you if you live in parts of southern Pennsylvania, because here's where we expect some rain over the region here Friday morning. Get my thoughts in a row here. And as we head into Friday afternoon and Friday evening, this is when we expect to see that highest severe weather risk. And we're seeing that here in the form of some significant storms tracking into the region. Again, this is as we get into the early overnight, late evening, right around 8 or 9 p.m. This evening. Those continue to lift off to the northeast. As we get into the early part of tonight, we lose some of that instability. The warm and the humid air that really drives and sustains these storms begins to wane, and that front begins to also push off towards the east as well. So the severe weather risk going to be highest as we get into Friday evening and Friday early tonight across this part of, again, just southern Pennsylvania and then parts of Maryland, Delaware, maybe even New Jersey, seeing some of that risk later on in the day. As we get into the overnight now, Saturday overnight, Saturday morning, seeing those storms moving off the east coast here, really just returning to a light shower, rain shower risk across much of the northeast region. This low continues to just spin away as we start off the weekend, at the very least the first 24 to 48 hours of the weekend. And that's going to keep this area maybe a bit cooler with that cloud and rain cover. Sorry about that, smack the microphone. With the clouds and the rain over the region here, probably a cooler start to the weekend, at least Saturday and the first part of Sunday. As we get into Sunday afternoon, the heaviest precipitation now is pushing off to the east over the Atlantic Ocean. We start to quiet down across the northeast region as we end the weekend and move into the early part of next week. Total precipitation amounts here, they are scattered, and that's what we expect when we're talking about thunderstorms. You get a lot if you get one of those heavy storms to move over you, and that's where we see some of these patches of maybe 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. Otherwise, if you're just seeing the rain shower activity, maybe about 1/2 inch to 1 inch, but generally speaking, everyone across the northeast region going to see that 1/2 inch to about 1.5 inches to maybe 2 inches as we get through the weekend. Good news here, no snow with this storm system. We don't have the cooler air. In fact, we've got a lot of warm air coming up from the south. feeding this storm system. So no snow expected as we get through the weekend, but we do have a system again coming in midweek that might bring some snow to northern parts of the region. Looking at the temperatures here, you see that warm air coming up from the south in advance of the storm system. The cooler air does wrap around on the backside as we get towards the later part of the weekend, but really a warm, although rainy weekend for a lot of the northeast region. Total accumulated precipitation, this is going to be the next 10 days. So as we started off, you'll see this first storm system tracking up the east coast, bringing a lot of rainfall. And then as we get into the middle part of the week, you see more subtly some precipitation sneaking across the northern U.S., and that's going to bring that chance for maybe some snow across northern parts of the northeast region. The only other player that we're watching is a cutoff low that's going to track across the southern U.S. as we get into the early to mid part of next week, but really good news if we talk about the Corn Belt, looking like we'll start to dry out in that region. Taking a look here, just to finish up, talking about precipitation, we'll look at the European model on the left, GFS model on the right, and we'll just take a look at the precipitation type forecast as we head into the next week or so. And we'll do this bit by bit as we first start off this weekend, Friday, getting into Saturday now. There you go. We've got that storm system lifting up along the northeast. This is when we're going to expect to see our rainy weekend across the region. We get through the day Saturday now into Sunday morning. Precipitation really coming to an end for the most part. Maybe seeing some rain now as we get into Monday across northern parts of the northeast region. We're talking about Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, parts of eastern New York State. This is during the day on Monday, getting into Monday night. Now, as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, this is when that next little system sneaks across parts of the northern U.S. into the northeast region. We get into, this is Wednesday morning. We've got pretty good agreement here between both the European model and the GFS model. Really remarkable agreement when we talk about getting out to about 5 to 6 days in advance, where we see this low over the state of Maine, essentially with some colder air possible on the north side of that, bringing some snow into, again, really talking about just far northern parts of this region, northern Maine, and then possibly higher elevation regions of New Hampshire and Vermont. But it looks like precipitation with this one, again, going to be mostly rain, just some far north snow possible. Getting through the end of the week, that's about all we'll be watching here. It's really going to be the heavy rain possible with the thunderstorms this weekend, and then watching that Wednesday and Thursday system. Now, high temperatures over the next several days. We're going to see some warmth as we start the weekend with that storm system bringing in the warm southerly flow. 60s and 70s widespread across the region for the high temperatures on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, seeing a little bit cooler. That's because, again, remember that low is continuing to kind of just spin away across the region, meaning clouds and maybe some shower activity. 60s widespread across the region on Sunday. Here is Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. Remember, cooler temperatures up here, seeing another system here bringing some rain shower activity to maybe this region, and then perhaps some snow across the far north. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have the next ag forecast update for you Monday morning. He'll take a look at the next 1 to 2 weeks, and I'll have your next Northeast regional forecast for you right here midday on Tuesday. Have a great day and have a great weekend.